Good morning. Welcome to Grow Your Strength. I'm going to start the class in the chair position for breathing. If you prefer to take your breathing to the floor, that just works fine as well. Just whatever position you choose, micro adjust your posture so you feel like you've got some good alignment, some good connection. You can focus on your breathing in and out through your nose, trying to get the breath as deep as possible, reducing any elevation into the neck and shoulders. Slowing down the breath as well as concentrating on the depth. As you take your last few breath cycles, I'd just like to shout out a little virtual high five to yourself for taking the time to build a stronger version of yourself. Can't really come with a guarantee of putting you in a better mood, but I often find it does. So just taking the time to be consistent with some sort of movement practice, moving you in the right direction. From here, I'm going to go to some flexion and extension of the back. You have options. You can stay on the floor, or you could, if you're sitting in the chair, you can start to take yourself into some gentle rolls forward and looking up, extending the back and neck and externally rotating the hands. I'm going to take this myself to a standing version. Just taking some time, feet a little wider than hip width, slight bend in the knees. I'm going to do a forward fold, internally rotate my shoulders and hands, and then coming up into that extended position, gently letting the weight of my head roll back and open up, externally rotating my hands. All right, after your next cycle, we'll go with some movement with the feet and ankles, just taking myself to a weight shift, opening up the toes, taking some time to move side to side. Every time you take the balance to one leg, there's some stability that's required through your ankle, your knee, and your hip. So taking a little longer, just feeling that out, getting the sensation through your foot that you're connected. Try not to scrunch the toes, just long and connected. Excuse me. Okay, now if you need balance support, you can hang on to something and then start to work the ankle in point and flex. You could do this trying to balance the whole time doing it, but if I want to really just make the focus about improving and maintaining my ankle mobility, hanging on to something is probably a good idea. Okay, so after about 3 to 5 movements, I'll switch sides. And just take the time to find your end range. Point as far away as you can. Pull the toes up and push the heel away. Switching sides, now we'll go to the ankle inversion and eversion. Opening up the toes, got a little set of toe spacers on today. That makes it easy to open my toes. Trying to wear them 15 minutes, a couple times a day. It's really helping me with the spacing between my toes. And for me, I've got quite a foot history. When I was younger, a lot of running, some toe issues, some bunions, things like that. So it works for me. But certainly I do believe in toe spacers and how much they can help you with balance down the road. There's my inversion, eversion, and some ankle circles. They feel a little awkward at first when you start wearing them, but after a while, you get used to it. And there are versions that you don't walk in. You can just put them on while your feet are up reading a book. Excellent. Okay. So from here today, I'm going to take us into some body weight squats. So just taking the feet hip width or wider and just start to slowly pull yourself down to a depth that you can control and push the floor away. On a couple of these, you can hold the down position, take your hand and just gently push your knees out a little bit, just creating some space in your hips. Take a breath in and come up again. It's somewhat similar to when I've come down and just said weight shift one side to the other side, just kind of feeling out your center, just gently prying, a gentle pry, and then breathe and come on back up. Let's have you do 2 more of those. And then after the squats there, we'll change it up to the hip hinge. So just priming the pattern of the hip hinge where your hips sit back, hands slide down your thighs to the knees or below. And as they come up, I like to add that little rotation of the palms out, just get nice and tall. So slide the hands down, hips back. In the hip hinge movement, your back position should stay neutral. So as you come through a hip hinge, you don't want to round into that flexion. A neutral back has curves, and as you sit back, you just feel that there's no movement through that back that you hold for your neutral. Next up, we'll take it to balance reaches. So I'm going to balance to the chair today. You could balance in the air to a piece of furniture. Gives you a little bit of feedback that you're level. Alternating sides, just take some time with this. We'll go for about the next minute. I like to connect my base foot, slight bend in my knee. Take a breath in as you reach forward with your hands and back with this heel, like you're extending to the wall behind you. One of the cues I've used that I quite like is think about just drawing a line in the sand with this foot that goes back. So if the line is nice and straight, so is your pelvis level with the floor. If you find yourself rotating out, which is probably what I see the most as opposed to in, then just try and realign that line. A little harder is to take your hands overhead to start, and then moving the fingers and the heel in the same plane as you hinge forward. Just becomes a little longer of a lever. You can switch feet. Line in the sand, same plane, and there we go. Okay, with the feet hip width apart, let's work on the shoulders a little bit, just warming up by bringing the shoulders into some circles. Think about elevating them here, pulling back the shoulder blades, driving them down gently, and then forward. So you can feel the shoulder blades, the scapula, move in those directions. As you circle a few times in one direction and then switch it up. Lift, come forward, stretch them apart, down, and then as you pull back, it's like you're pinching a pencil. I'm going to warm up the shoulder with a standing shoulder car, one arm at a time. So very slowly, just taking the arm forward. As you bring the arm up, try not to move the body. So there might be a tendency to want to kind of arch the back. Focus on something straight ahead. Breathe. Reach that point where you have to rotate your palm back. And then just bring your hand down to the side of your hip. Maybe try to bring the hand up the small of your back. What range can you access there? Not moving through any pain, just gingerly work around it. Stay out of movements that cause you pain. And then when you're ready here, you rewind. Got my fingers nice and open. Maintaining and improving the shoulder mobility that we can access is really important for strength training, because if we don't have good proper range, our shoulders don't function properly, and then we add load, it's kind of asking for trouble, more trouble. So just take your time with these joint rotations. With some consistency, you really do feel a difference. And up the small of my back, to the side, and slowly rewind. Trying to focus on some deep breathing. Good stuff. Okay, we'll pick it up a bit and do our minute of chair squats or squats in the air. This can be body weight, or you can grab some weight. I'm going to do body weight today and give it a couple versions. It can be any pace you want. Just trying to move for the next minute. So here's some body weight ones. To a depth that you can control, breathing in as you pull yourself down, exhaling as you come up. You're wanting the security of a chair. It could be a bit of a touch and go with the hips. And you can elevate with some pillows and gradually take the pillows away. 15 seconds into our minute. Lots going on, right? Blood's flowing, a little bit of heart rate increase. Connecting with my feet. If things don't feel right on the back, you could move your feet a little wider. Maybe try to push your knees out as you come down to create some more space. And 15 more seconds to go, looking good. Right on. Okay, so I'm going to start my first strength set. It starts with extension reaches, and we'll go for about 5 of these. So you can take your hands back, feet hip width or wider, reach for the roof, lift the heels, try to get nice and big, and then come back down. Now, here I'm gonna take off my toe spacers because that really does seem to affect things there. That looks great. All right, let's try it again without those toe spacers. My feet are nice and connected with the mat, and back down. Excellent. Okay, second exercise is a hand tap and a push-up. Now here's some options. You could go against a wall. Hands are closer together, feet are wider. Take one hand and cross it over to the opposite shoulder. One time per side, take the hands wider and give yourself a version of a push-up where you pull yourself into the wall, moving those shoulder blades together. as you pull yourself in and apart as you push yourself out. Oh, sometimes I just crack myself up. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to show you on the floor version. Feet wide, hands together. Tap, tap, wider, push up, okay? Now, as this is more of a standing class, go to the wall, set yourself up, walk your feet away from the wall. Little activation of the hip muscles always helps. Just a little squeeze, tap, tap, wider, push up. Now you could take a break in between each one and give yourself up to about 5 repetitions. Third exercise, squat and press, possibly with load. So here, we did some shoulder circles to warm up. You want to take a weight that you know you can press overhead with the squat and press. Now, if your shoulder isn't at the point where you press, you just hold the weight at the shoulder and squat, stop, press, stop, up to 6 per side. So here, if you didn't want to do the shoulder, you would just squat maybe a few more. But opening up the shoulder with load, be mindful that as you press, you're not elevating the shoulder to the ear. I'm using all the muscles on the top of my shoulder as I press up, and then everything kind of connected as I bring it back down. And I like to just bring the weight into my shoulder by rotating my palm in. This is kind of a kettlebell thing, because in kettlebell world, you hold the kettlebell at the shoulder in what they call the rack position. And I have adopted that rack of the weight for my dumbbell work as well, okay? Of course, I lost count, so I'm gonna switch sides. And around 6, squat and press. Get to that depth that you know you've got with all the warm up and the work we did on the squats already. Be okay if this is just your fist or very lightweight. Good. Now, shoulder cars from a balanced position is our last thing to do. And if you have a little trouble standing on one foot for a long period of time, the option is this, okay? You can either use your back foot a lot or a little, just feather your toe there. The work with both arms now, same shoulder movement we did in the warm-up. Now you're just trying to focus with a little bit more work going on. We're trying to balance, weight is on the front foot, knee is not locked, and bringing my arms around without changing the position of my back. So be mindful you didn't create a big soup bowl there as you brought your arms around. Tapping that back toe down if you need to, or keeping it on the floor the whole time. Even a bit of distributed weight would be a little easier. The foot that you're standing on, be mindful that you're not just scrunching up your toes. So open up those toes, get them connected to the floor. And that's a lot of work, right? Especially going that slow. Okay, switching sides. Open up the foot, slight bend in the knee, decide where you're going to be. And here we go. Most of us have a goofy side, not just a funny goofy side, but kind of a goofy side with movement. Sometimes your goofy side is your dominant hand side, and other times I find with people it's their non-dominant side. And then there's those that goofy sides change from time to time. Breathe. I'm resisting the urge to go into extension or arching my back. I don't want to hold my breath. And here we go. Okay, into extension reaches. This time, let's stagger our feet. So instead of side by side staggered, can still have some width to them, right? Still have a width. Now, 3 per side. Get those arms back. Lift the heels. Reach for the roof. If you have a good one going on, you can stay there for a moment before you come back down. It's just practice. After 3, switch the front foot. Reset. I just realized there's a gardener outside of my apartment building. You know, I wonder whether he has any idea that I'm taping this class. Oh, well, here we go. 3 of these. Reach. Oh, I got my fingers and my arms up just a bit more that time. Okay, our taps. Tap, tap, push up. One of the strength students said she thought I ratcheted this up a notch in this program. This is actually a very hard exercise. So as you set yourself up for the position, hands close together, feet wide, you know, be proud. It's like, okay, I'm giving my core a good workout, some strength in my shoulders, my arms. You know, even if you're just doing a little mini push-up, it's all okay. Could even take a break in between reps. The wall works, okay? So I'm doing this off my fireplace. Hands closer together, feet wider, give you a good base of support. Tighten up your hips just a little. Tap, tap, hands wider. Work those shoulder blades. Show me some strength. Up to about 5 of those. Rest as you need it. Okay, squat and press one more time. How was the weight you used the first time? Mine felt about right. Squat, stop, press, stop. The going gets tough, you count. There's 2. And one more for 6. These rep ranges are just a suggestion because I don't know how strong you are yet and what weight you've chosen, you know, where you're at in your strength practice. Let the magic happen. So if 6 is too much, do less. If it's not enough, do a couple more. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to move us to working on the reverse lunge now. The shoulder cars, we did kind of twice with the warm-up. If you're doing this as a tape and you feel like you want to do the balanced shoulder cars again, please do. Okay, so reverse lunge. I'll start with body weight and go over some technique, and then we'll load it as an option. Stepping back nice and straight. Remember that line in the sand? Cue I gave you for the balance? Same would go for here. Dropping the back knee a little or a lot and coming forward. Stay on one side. Let's practice up to 6. Okay, now from the side view, as you step back, this front knee, it can go a little forward if it feels okay on the knee. If your knees aren't doing great, you kind of want to keep the angle at about 90 degrees and not go forward and put a lot of stress there. But this is an individual thing, and it has to be sort of played with in time, how it feels for you. A lot of times I see people stepping back too narrow. So here's my sort of marker of midline. And if I step back, here's my feet hip width. If I step back too wide, and that's okay, it's not going to hurt me. It's just going to make it a little easier, actually, as far as a balance perspective. I step back straight from my hips, so it's more like a walking and running gait. But if I step back and I get somewhere in close to the midline, and that can happen if you have tight hips or ankles. I don't want to do it because I'll fall on that dowel. But if I came back to that midline, you can see that that could be hard, right? That is when you might not know it. So look in the mirror. I sometimes get clients to put a piece of masking tape down their mat and then look right in the mirror so that you can actually step on that masking tape and you wouldn't hurt yourself. It's a guideline, okay? Here's the thing. This is an external marker of how it looks to me, but how you improve it is all the other things that we're doing leading up to this, meaning ankle mobility, hip mobility, right? So it's a combination of things that are going to improve your reverse lunge. Now in this program, I went with band pulls. And so let's mix it up a little bit today. I said we'd load it, so let's do the band pulls and then we'll load the lunge, have a little fun with some different variations. So with the band pull, my palms are up and I'm opening up, creating a connection through my shoulders. About 6 band pulls on this diagonal. Trying not to move the rest of the body. Have the tension just right, that you're not having to torque your wrist or you feel stress through your elbow or neck. This takes a little practice and sometimes letting go of the ego, that it's just nice and loose and that works. Okay, it doesn't have to be super tight to be effective. Other side, palms up, open it up. And here we go. Feels good. Okay, and then now let's go back to the loading of the reverse lunge. So if you take a dumbbell in each hand or a kettlebell in the center, here we have some loading of this. Now, one way to know if you're ready for loading is that does the movement look pretty close to the same. So if I load it up and all of a sudden I lost my front knee, I felt wobbly, I didn't have that, then you should not be loading these moves yet. More practice in the body weight version, okay? Get control of that back toe. Decide if you're going to challenge your front knee a little bit or not. Stepping forward every time is always a little harder. You could stay up and down if you wanted to make that a little bit easier. Okay, and as you step back, you want to watch that front knee sort of tracks the middle of your foot. Okay, so let's put the weights down and now we'll do the combo we did last week. If the combo doesn't work, just go back to the band only, but here's the combo. So right hand is my top hand. I'm going to keep the right foot connected and step back with the left foot. And as I drop the knee down, I'm opening up that band on the diagonal, aiming for about 6. Step back, open up, and come back up to standing. This is a much more complex move. Focusing on something in front of you will help. And just go through the checklist of things I suggested, like make sure this isn't too tight. Lots going on. Work in the body. Open it up. There we go. Now when you're ready to switch, right? Left hand up, left foot stays planted. Step back and open. Looks great. And if you didn't have a resistance band like this, just doing this with your arms, you could even have palms open, something like that would work. Okay? So we're going to move on, knees and squeeze. You've been following along with this class. This is a hip hinge, a row, and standing up. A colleague of mine named it knees and squeeze, and it stuck. So thank you, Lindsay, for that. As you sit back, your back is neutral. There should be no stress through your low back. You pull the elbows up and squeeze the shoulder blades together, staying out of your neck, and then straighten the arms, and then it's a hip hinge forward, aligning the posture and activating the hips a little. Bend over, row, stand up, smiling optional. Up to 10 of these. Looks great. Now, for the shoulder series today, I was looking at this program before class and I decided I might break it up just a bit. So we're going to start with the lateral fly and then go into the curtsy lunge. So here's the lateral fly, taking the elbows out to the sides and pulling them back down. Between 5 and 10 of these, big rep range change. I don't know how this feels for you. These are 3-pound dumbbells, getting a nice little amount of work through my shoulders. And I can control this weight so easily. There's no shrugging. I'm not inwardly rotating. I'm keeping my posture, right? If the weight was a lot heavier, I might be like forced to move my body to get them out, right? So this is just really focusing on the shoulder and not risking much with a weight that's well within my wheelhouse. See how I can control that out? So start somewhere, figure it out. Next up is the curtsy lunge, taking the foot back across, dipping down a little or a lot and coming back up to posture. 5 or 6 reps will be good, staying on that one side. I'm trying to keep my body square to the wall in front of me, cross over, dip down that back knee a bit. I'll show you from the side in a moment. When you cross over and dip down, you can go just with a tap or go a little lower. If the dipping down doesn't feel right, just tap it, make it a balance move, right, as opposed to dipping down. Here we go. Other side. Up. I love this move for the hips to get some good hip mobility and some good strength. Okay, now let's go back to our knees and squeeze. I have to change out my weights to something a little heavier. I'm going to grab a little sip of water. Up to 10 knees and squeeze. Connect your feet. Hips back. Here we go. Row and stand. And that sensation of strength through the shoulder blades. Standing tall with that weight, activating the hips. Good. Finishing off up to 10, please. After you finish your 10, we'll move into another shoulder exercise. And again, I'm going to go with lighter weights. I'm taking my elbows out to 90 degrees and I'm coming in front and then opening up. You're picking the rep range. How does this feel? Remember when we did the shoulder warm-up, I was saying shoulder blades pull apart. They come together. when we did the circles. So now we're adding a little bit of load, even if that's just repetition with body weight. When I bring my elbows all the way together, feel a little stretch between my shoulder blades and the back of my shoulders. Okay, and then into the curtsy lunge. This time, I'm going to challenge myself a bit more and up the weights for my curtsy lunge. Square yourself to the wall in front of you, and here we go. Remember, it could just be a tap. I'm breathing in as I pull myself down. Exhale as I stand up and get tall. Switching sides. Front toes are connected, not scrunched. Just keep thinking about the posture and what you can do to get more out of your strength practice. Pace is good. Nice. Okay, now we're switching to the farmer's walk with a hand switch around your space. Make sure it's safe. Pick up the weight safely. So I'm going to hinge and pick up a 10-kilogram kettlebell. This could be any weight. As you walk, slowly pass the weight from side to side. Feeling what's going on in all the muscles that support your torso, but also what's going on in the shoulders, in the legs. This is a test of my fire alarm system in the building. Oh my gosh, today we're just getting lots of little distractions. Maybe you guys couldn't hear that, but the fire alarm just went off. Oh boy. Passing side to side. Let's go ahead and do one more shoulder exercise. I'm going to go with external rotation. So what I mean by this is grabbing light weights or just open hands and trying some palm up movements out. Now this might be more of what you think of a classic external rotation. Once you get that, I'd like you to sort of try some different angles. Okay, so don't just go with one thinking that's going to be the magic answer for external rotation. The shoulder is very complex. As long as you're using a weight that is not stressing you into your neck and shoulders, any angle can go a little higher, a little lower, on a diagonal, other diagonal, and you just kind of get to that point where that's probably enough. Okay, let's do our farmer's carry one more time. I have some clients that have grandkids and they're telling me how much their grandkids weigh, and things like helping them into a car seat or into a shopping cart requires a lot of movement that isn't specific like we do here. So what we do here gets you stronger and reduces the risk of injury when things don't look so kind of aligned, or we're not trying for that. But you don't want to hurt yourself as you do your activities of daily living. One of the hardest core exercises is putting on a tight-fitted sheet, the last corner. I know you know that because we've all been there. Whew, yeah. Okay, so also one of the hardest brain exercises, folding a fitted sheet. Now, last week I set up the chairs and I did some leg lowering. Today I'm going to focus on the get up. And if you're not at the stage where you do a get up, you can look back onto last week's tape and go to the end of it and start working on assisted chair lowers to a pillow. Now, the get up exercise is something I think we all need to start working on. If you haven't seen me do a get up or talk about the benefits of it, I always enjoy giving people mini versions of it, never wanting to lose the ability to get up and down from the floor. And if that has already happened, then we've got work to do to restore that, okay? We can restore that, and we shall. So if you're at the stage where you're down on the floor and you can just do a little bit, you line up, right arm in the air, right knee bent, left arm and leg out on an angle. Adjust your chin posture and your back posture. So if you have a big curve, just decrease that curve a bit so you feel like all the muscles here are activated or kind of lined up. You take a breath in and you just roll to the elbow. Now you want to make sure you're not shrugged, okay? So that, for those of you that can, just go ahead and do a full get up. Here's the first stage from the elbow though. I just come all the way back down. I reset up and then I roll. Okay, now some of you are wanting more. So here we go. Hand presses up. I adjust the hand to a place where I could lift my weight because I'm going to lift between my bent knee foot and my hand and pull myself through. Once I'm in this position, my knees tucked, I can sit into my hips and come up to half kneeling. From the half kneeling, you're adjusting your posture for a lunge. So remember what I said when we did reverse lunges? Not too close, not too far, ideally right in front. Tuck the back toes and come up to standing. Focusing on something in front of you will help your balance as you step back, get control of your toes. Slowly drop the back knee, open up the front, come down to the hand and take a moment to make sure you're not in a shrug. You've got your weight distributed between your hand and your foot, and you can kick through to your hip. Nice and slow to the elbow, and rolling yourself down to the floor, ideally without shrugging. Okay, now that's one side. We switch sides. I'll go through the other side and just keep going. If you've got the full get up and you're just practicing, you can watch for some cues. See, I'm just aligning my core here, chin tuck. I haven't got my shoulder all disconnected. I'm kind of just connecting it down, feeling my shoulder blade on the floor, onto the elbow, hand. Adjust the hand so that you know you can come up, and that's going to feel okay to pop the leg through. Sitting into the hip, upright, adjust for the lunge, tuck the back toes, use your legs to get you up. Big step back, control of your balance, soft knee to land, open up that front foot, hand, kick through, elbow, and all the way back down. Okay, I'm going to finish the class today with some more breathing. I'll bring my chair back. Wherever you're at in your health journey, be happy with what you got done in the class today. I was listening to a podcast, it was more nutrition focused, but it was talking about willpower. I think I really need to address willpower because sometimes people think, oh, I don't have good willpower, I don't have the control to do this, or I have no control and I don't do it. All that kind of stuff. But you do have the choice to do whatever things you do, okay? You do choose to eat the things you eat. You do choose to move or not. And taking responsibility for your health requires a lot of choices that sometimes might not be what would be your top thing to do. But that's okay. Once you start and you see the benefits and you feel the benefits of movement, you feel the benefits of some healthier food choices, no extremes, just scaling things, doing a bit more, it becomes easier Today, I have somebody that I know that's going through something really tough. And I just feel like we have the choice to do what we're going to do. And unfortunately, today she doesn't. So she has to have, some medical stuff. So, it just makes me feel like sharing that to send her out some good energy and love and just keep on keeping on. Keep on trying to do the best choices that we can for our health. That's all we can ask of ourselves. So thank you for building a stronger version of yourself with me today. I look forward to seeing you again soon.